Well, because you deliver the recommendation so perfectly, your customers every time just say, sure, where's the dotted line, sign it, and you're done, right?
Yeah. Every time.
Every time, right? Well, now, unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. We, as salespeople, we have to face those objections. Or not so much objections, it may give a little pushback, right? But really, what do objections really mean?
They don't understand.
They don't understand, exactly. They're not sure. They're not quite 100% have the education that they need on the product or on the service. There's something that they might need to have explained a little bit more. So that's why I really don't like to use the term overcoming objections as far as using the term managing the objections. Because maybe we left something out when we made our recommendation. Maybe there was something that we missed when we were doing our analyze. And so when you start to get that pushback, or an objection as we call it, I don't want you to just fold. Okay, well thanks. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Don't. What I want you to do is we're going to give you a strategy, a process, that every time you face an objection, I'm going to show you how to manage it. And if you have a strategy to manage the objections, then you'll be able to work through them. So the first thing is you need to listen. You have to listen to what they say. Now when I say listen, I'm not just talking about you're not saying a word and you're listening to them. I'm saying you're physically listening and mentally listening. We're listening to their words, exactly what they're telling us. We're blocking everything else out. We're not in our mind trying to think of how to respond to it, which is typically what we're doing when we start hearing our customers give us a little bit of an objection. This hit home for me when I was down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and I was using a translator. Have you guys ever seen a translator in a presentation at all? Mm-hmm. So the way it works is in the back of the room, there's almost like a telephone booth. And that's actually where you'll have either one or two translators sit there. My microphone, at that time I had a lapel microphone, is tied into the system, and it feeds back into that booth. And they can hear me. So they hear my words when I'm speaking. They have a microphone, which then in turn broadcasts out to the people in the audience. They have like a Walkman and a headset. It has a channel on it. They can pick which channel we're going to be on. And they're actually hearing the translator in the booth speak. At that time it was Portuguese. So I speak English to the translator through the microphone. And of course the people in the audience can hear me too. They can, in fact, what you'll find a lot of times is they'll have one ear on the translator and one ear on you, because they want to get, where are you putting the stress and how are you saying certain words as far as, is it sarcastically, what's your tone? Because when I hear it from the translator, it's just like this the whole time, So they want to get some of the tone. So that's how the translators are set up. Now, when they wanted to ask me a question, what they would have to do is they would have a microphone, okay, a wireless microphone, and then obviously the translators could hear them, and I had a headset as well, and so they would translate into English for me. And this hit home because I had a gentleman in the audience, I thought, asking me a question. So he had the wireless microphone, and I'm listening to my translator, and he gets the first couple words in, and all of a sudden I start going in my mind. Okay, I know what he's going to say. I know how I need to respond to this. This is what I need to focus on. I'm going to talk about this, talk about that. And the gentleman finishes speaking, and then I go into my response. And I'm saying, well, no, you need to do this, and here's how you need to do it, and da-da-da-da-da. And the translator in my ear is saying, no, TJ, it wasn't a question. He was making a comment, and he agreed with you. He was actually reinforcing what you said. I was like, oh. Of course, I recovered and said, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But then I realized I wasn't listening. I was listening by the fact I wasn't interrupting him, but I wasn't mentally listening. So it's important that when our customers are giving us their objection or giving us that pushback, we listen entirely to them. What are they saying? And obviously, don't interrupt them. Don't argue with them. But listen to them. And in some cases, if you let them talk enough, they will answer their own questions. Or they may even talk themselves out of what they thought was an issue. The second part, restate. We listen and then we restate. Restate back to them what they said. The reason why you want to do this is to make sure that we're on the same page. Because if I'm interpreting it one way and you're thinking another way, then there's no point in me going forward. Because I'm just going to be wasting your time and my time. I need to make sure that I understand, I'm restating it in my words, what you said. So then, once I restate it, then I can respond to it. And so you respond to that objection. It might be more education, like Ashley said earlier. They just don't understand. It could be a follow-up question to them. Put the ball back in their court. A lot of times we feel that when we face objections, we're the ones on the defensive and we have to do everything and we have to take our stand. And that's not the case. What we need to do is get better clarification. Ask them, well, why is that? If they may have, they're not sure about it. What are you not sure about? What do you, if they say I need to think about it, great, well, what do you need to think about so that when you're home thinking about this, some questions might come up. Let's make sure you have the answers right now. So don't be afraid to put the ball back into their court by asking them a couple questions about their objections. The last thing I want you to do, remember as I said at the beginning, is just don't fold like a house made of cards. Let's dig into it a little bit more. So then we respond, then we confirm. You confirm, did that answer your objection? Did this take care of the need that you had? Did I answer the question that you had? You guys have seen me do this throughout the day. When someone would have a question, I'll go back to you and say, okay, does that answer your question? Because what's the point of moving forward if I didn't answer your question? If I didn't answer Mona's question, then what is she going to do for the whole rest of the day? She's going to tune me out, right? She's not going to listen to me because I've never answered her question. Well, there's no point in moving forward if I haven't handled that objection for the customer. There's no way they could say yes if we haven't answered the question, if we haven't completed it for them. So once we have confirmed it, then we're going to do our trial close again. And what's a trial close? What's it sound like?
How's that sound?
Yeah, how does that sound? So you ready to get started? Simple and easy, just like that. Because see, once we have handled this objection, now we're ready to move forward. And that's why we do the trial close again.